Hey everyone, welcome to Sports Revolution. We are your hosts. I'm Jon.
And I'm Joe.
And today we're going to be discussing the upcoming NFC Championship matchup between the Arizona Cardinals and the Carolina Panthers.
Yep, and these teams have actually had a history of facing off against one another in the playoffs as recent as 2008. The Cardinals actually marched into Charlotte and trounced the Panthers 33-13 back when Carolina wasn't quite developing as much. And then last season, Carolina went out to Arizona and got their revenge and beat Arizona on their home turf. So this is going to be another interesting matchup between these two teams who are much stronger than I've seen them in recent years.
Yeah, especially considering these two teams are now at full strength, for the most part. Carolina's a bit banged up. Their defensive core, they're missing a couple of their key cornerbacks.
They're missing a couple of key cornerbacks. They're also missing defensive lineman Jared Allen, who they acquired in a trade this past season with the Chicago Bears. And he's not too happy about sitting out, according to some reports. He's very displeased and wants to play in this game.
I'm sure. And I think that's going to impact Carolina's chances given how formidable Arizona's receiving core is.
Yeah, absolutely. And how much improved of a quarterback Carson Palmer has been this past season and showed in the last game they played against the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, they marched up and down the field. Carson Palmer had a bit of a difficult time against Green Bay the first half of the game, but he really came alive the latter half, particularly in overtime when he had to put up a big play against Green Bay in order to beat them.
It was a great game last week against the Packers, and I have to commend Green Bay's efforts to coming back. Aaron Rodgers gunning it down the field from his own 2-yard line to midfield and then Hail Marying it to send the game into overtime. That was a crazy series of events the Packers had put up.
Incredible play. A pair of Hail Marys.
I was watching the game and literally I was just clapping. I'm like, bravo.
Yeah, that's the sort of playoff game that we want to see. And we may well end up getting more of that from this matchup between the two of them.
Absolutely. And in overtime, it was all Carson Palmer and Larry Fitzgerald right at the end of the game, which sent Arizona right to this stage.
Yeah, the latter half of the regular season, Larry Fitzgerald, they used him more to block. He didn't catch as many touchdowns. He didn't rack up the receiving yards that he did earlier in the season, but he delivered when he needed to during the divisional round.
He did, absolutely. And now recapping the Panthers game against the Seahawks, Carolina was just in full control of the game in the first half.
Yeah, the Seahawks had no chance whatsoever. The defense stayed home that day.
Nobody showed up. In the second half, however, Seattle started to come back a little bit, but Carolina started to play a little bit more conservative than they should. And of course, the rest of the team got called out for it by Cam Newton and head coach Ron Rivera. I think this is a big lesson learned, and the rest of the team's all aware of it. You cannot rest and play conservative in the playoffs at all whatsoever.
No, that's how you end up giving away games.
And against a team like Seattle, which very easily could have given that game up, kind of like in the previous round, the wild card round, when Minnesota basically handed Seattle the game.
Moving on, let's talk about the key players for this upcoming game. Who do you think they're going to be?
All right, key players. Going with the Carolina Panthers, it's going to be Cam Newton's time to shine. This is going to be the most important game of his career, going up against a very tough Arizona defense.
Okay, and how about Arizona?
Arizona, it's actually not going to be a quarterback. I think this is going to be on Larry Fitzgerald. With the injuries that Carolina is suffering in the secondary as well as the front line, this is going to be his ticket to really go at Carolina's defense and put Arizona in a good position to win this game. All right, so who are your picks?
My picks are exactly the same as yours. I think Carolina has an excellent opportunity to advance to the Super Bowl, but if they're to do so, they're going to require a great performance out of Cam Newton. And I think Cam Newton's going to have to deliver a good performance throughout the entire game. For Arizona, I also pick Larry Fitzgerald. Larry Fitzgerald has the benefit of not likely matching up against Josh Norman. Josh Norman plays most of his position out of the slot, so he'll likely be matched up against Michael Floyd. But as we well know from the divisional round, Larry Fitzgerald is more than capable of putting up big numbers, and I think that's what we're going to see happen. He'll be integral to the success of the team.
All right, now what's going to be your final verdict in this game? Who's going to advance to Super Bowl 50?
This is going to be a close game. I think Arizona is going to put up a hell of a fight, but I think Carolina has momentum on their side. And I think Cam Newton's a little less apt to make mistakes. So my final verdict is Carolina over Arizona, and I will say 35-28.
All right, my verdict of this game, I think Carolina definitely has the upper hand for the same exact reasons, momentum. Arizona's going to come in with a lot of momentum as well, and not only is this going to be an offensive battle, I think it's going to be a big battle on the defensive side of the ball for both teams as well. So I'm going to rule in favor of the Carolina Panthers. I'm actually going to go with the score of 21-14, a very low scoring game with Carolina coming out victorious.
More of a conservative estimate.
I think so, actually. I think it's going to be a low scoring game mainly because of the defense, and both teams really want it. I like this matchup.
I do too. It's going to be an exciting game. With that said, let us know what you guys think in the comment section below, what you think the final outcome will be. If you enjoyed our video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.
Also, we're on Twitter and we're on Facebook, so feel free to give us a follow and give us a like on Facebook. For Jon, I am Joe. Thank you for tuning in to Sports Revolution. Take care, everyone.